Howdy lovelies, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our crafting where we learn, grow and craft together. In today's session we are going to make tiny envelopes. What to do with those tiny envelopes? Well, you can do so much with them. You can obviously use it as embellishments on any of your paper projects, on card fronts. You can use it as little pockets on a page. Even on a smaller pocket you can add those. You can turn it into hidden paper clips. You can also use it to house tiny journal cards or tiny ephemera pieces, and they really make for a beautiful collage element if you put a few of those together. You can even go ahead and decorate a belly band with some of these tiny little pockets. I don't have a photo, but I once used a bunch of tiny envelopes to decorate a small folio that was an insert to a journal. So without further ado, let's get started. I have to laugh at myself. I first have to tell you this. I had started with the recording of this video, and as I take away my Wobble Crafting background, I normally put the video on pause, take that away, and then I continue with recording. I had now done the same mistake twice by, instead of pausing the video, I stopped it altogether. Now, I am absolute rubbish though with editing, so I do the minimal editing in my videos. I just take out most of the ums and ahs and the long pauses in between where I forget I've got an audience, but I cannot yet do those wonderful editing miracles that some of these digital creators are capable of. Maybe one day. What do we need for our tiny envelopes? I'm using these little memo pads. We all know them, we all have them. If you're like me, I need to make notes so that I can remember things because my brain is really all over the place. So I've got a container that is always full so that I can make my notes, and I keep it together so that I then can see. So it is putting my thought process on paper. So we're going to use that, a ruler, and we need a scoring tool just so that we can have something to work with. Now, these papers are already in a square. You can simply fold it as you wish without worrying too much about folding it straight. You can do it whichever way you want, just more or less the same. Fold this up, and there you have a little envelope. Now you can trim that a little bit, which is what I will do. I'll show you here. You can even use a corner rounder to just, oops, and I just dropped the glue stick in your ears. Please forgive me for that. You can round the corners just to make this a little bit, looking a little bit better and not so much like that. There you go. And then you can fold this one over and you have your little envelope. Now, if you like me and you don't like the feel of those, you can go in and trim the edges just a tiny little bit. Same on this side, and just get it a little bit rounded. Both ends, you can do the same thing on both ends. Remember to just cut it within that crease so that it can still fold. I don't like the sharp edge of that, so I'll round that a little bit more. The same this side, and of course I'm going to round these ends as well, just so that it looks a little bit more like an envelope. So there we have that one. It's a bit short, so I will just fold this one in, and you can fold this one over, and there is one way. If you want to have a much neater and less skewer envelope, because if we put this here you can see that it is actually quite skew on the one side, you can go ahead and do this using your mat. I just want to put this off to one side. I like to just line it up so that my ends are the same and they more or less in the same way. So you can score it from there, about more or less there, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So if you need to see, that's about halfway to in a bitty. So I know it doesn't make sense, but that's about where we scored the other one. Now we're going to turn this up, line these ends. I can't give you measurements. I really cannot give you measurements. I want to just fold this one up quite a bit. We want this to be straight as possible. We can fold this one over directly just to ensure that it will close, and we want that one as straight as possible too. And we're going to fold these ends in, and you can see having that thicker piece there does make it a bit difficult, more difficult to fold. You can just score it there, and so just fold this over. You will see that the edges are having those extra pieces. That's where we have scored them, and it just makes it easier to fold over. Now let's open it up, and then we can trim those extra little pieces that will be bothersome. Just cut this within that little scored line. That ensures you will be able to fold it properly. And this one we just trim a little bit more, round those edges a bit. The same with this side. These ones here you can trim also a bit. And this one has got a tiny little bit less that we can trim there. Now let's fold it over. We still have to punch the edges, so let's do that quickly. The corners, just around it, and make it look like an envelope that won't shoot the paper. It sometimes happens, but mostly these punches are absolutely wonderful. So there we have that. Oh, I've got all these pieces now here, and now we can fold this in. So we can start there, fold that in, that one, and we can glue it down with that little piece over. And if you look at it, it's a whole lot more straighter than what was our first one in the beginning. Now we're going to glue this quickly. Just some glue on the edge, not too much. You want the pocket, so I'll glue there so that we know it will close without closing the pocket. So we basically just have glue on there, and then we can add anything to the inside. Let's do this one too, but this needs to be a tiny bit, as it is so close. See, it's not even fitting in properly. It was a real tight fit. So let's just wipe that off. And there we have this little almost misformed envelope. But we have that one and this other tiny one. Easy. You can do it with color paper. You can cut your own squares. You can, in other words, increase the size or decrease it. This is for those that are interested. The 3.5, supposedly about 3.5, yes. And in centimeters, then it is just shy of 9 centimeters, and the same across. So there we have it. I hope you will be able to make your own little envelopes, and you can then add this to any of your paper projects, and you can add it to literally anything. If I grab a little something from a previous project, you can add it to a little card and make some sort of a collage. These are just items that I found here on my desk. So there we have a tiny little collage, and you can even call it a cluster if you want to. You can use it literally anywhere. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you for joining me. Please go try this for yourself. And if you do, if you don't mind, please tag Wobble Crafting on social media if you feel inspired by the videos. And if you want to see more content like this, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that little notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload new content. And as always, I'll be appreciative if you subscribe to my channel too. See you back soon. Goodbye.